What's going on, Sports Wars? This is Ryan with the RK Outpost and GeeksGamers.com, and there is drama brewing between Jake Paul and a couple different people in the UFC, specifically Jorge Masvidal, one of the more well-known fighters in the UFC, one of the guys that does have a decent amount of star power, that Jake Paul is trying to get to fight him in some way, shape, or form. And Dana White, UFC president. Jake Paul has picked a fight with a couple people, and Dana White is clapping back. Take a look at the headline. Jake Paul to Dana White. I'll fight Masvidal under these conditions. UFC Prez claps back. And there's Jake Paul and Dana White. Dana White didn't waste any time firing back at Jake Paul after the problem child issued a list of demands. He said the UFC Prez must meet if he wished to set up a Paul versus Jorge Masvidal fight. So before we listen to Dana White's response, let's see what Jake Paul actually did. Now, they've been beefing back and forth a little bit, and Dana White's going to bring it up in his video, but he basically called Dana White a cokehead, said all this stuff. And Dana White said, hey, listen, if you think I'm a cokehead, I'll let you test me randomly for 10 years, as long as you let me test you for 2 years for steroids, because he's pretty positive that the Paul brothers are juicing right now. But this is what Jake Paul put out. Happy New Year, Dana White. Here's a real challenge for you. I will immediately retire from boxing and fight Jorge Masvidal in the UFC if you agree to increase the minimum fighter pay per fight to $50K. It's $12K now. Guarantee UFC fighters 50% of annual revenues. He's trying to make it, hey, you don't pay your fighters. That's what he's trying to make this thing into. Provide a long-term health care to all fighters. There are many UFC alums who have publicly said they're suffering brain damage. You have 5 days to accept and implement the above. Once implemented, I will immediately retire from boxing and do all this stuff to fight weak chin Jorge. To all UFC fighters, time to take a stand and create value for yourselves and peers. You deserve higher pay, you deserve long-term health care, and above all, you deserve freedom. Support each other. I'm not your enemy. I'm an advocate who selfishly wants to KO a few of you all to make some big bank. Well, Dana White has responded, and we're going to take it from Barstool Sports right here, who did rip this down. But Dana White versus Jake Paul, cocaine test versus steroid test. Let's listen to Dana White.
Jake, you never responded to the challenge. You publicly stated that I use cocaine. I do not. So I told you could randomly cocaine test me for the next 10 years. I believe that you're a cheater, and I believe that you use steroids. So I want to randomly steroid test you for the next 2 years. And that thing that you came out with today, nobody on earth thinks that you really wrote that. You're too stupid. And for those of you that don't know, if you've ever watched one of his fights and you see when they do the stare down, the guy that's standing in the middle with the warlock nose and the big warlock wart on his face, apparently that's his manager. And that guy used to be an accountant for me. And let's just say this, he no longer works for me, and I think he's a scumbag.
So this is getting awesome. Dana White not pulling any punches, going after Jake Paul and his manager right now.
But if you two think that you can do it better than we do, we're doing this whole thing wrong. You could treat the fighters better than we do. Knock yourself out. Go start your own business. It's easy to do. Get the warlock on it. The warlock can get it started for you. What you and the warlock should be focused on is your business. You're tanking. You can't sell pay-per-views. You're calling out Jorge Masvidal because he's a pay-per-view superstar. Nate Diaz, Conor McGregor, Mike Tyson. These are all superstars. You're not. You can't sell pay-per-views. So you do whatever the hell you want to do. I'm ready to roll, buddy. I don't use cocaine. Do you use steroids? Let's do this, Jake.
There you go. Not mincing words with Jake Paul. Basically said, hey, I think you're using steroids. If you want to actually prove, then you got to step up to the plate. And obviously, he's calling out what the Paul brothers are doing. They're setting up all this drama. They're publicly feuding with people, doing all this stuff to get people that have big platforms, to get people that can help promote them so that they can go in there and make their money doing what they do, whether it's real or whether it's completely fake and scripted. But Dana White is not someone who I think is going to really play around with them. He might play the game to get more energy, to get more attention, but he's not going to play the game that they want to be played. He's going to set his own terms because with everything he's done with the UFC, I think that I think he understands what's going on right now. He's not going to get sucked into this feud with Jake Paul the way that Jake Paul wants to do it. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments below about this entire feud between Jake Paul, Dana White, Jorge Masvidal. What's going to happen? What will be the result? Let me know in the comments below. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.